Transmedia storytelling is the technique of telling a single story or story experience across multiple platforms and formats including, but not limited to, games, books, events, cinema and television. The purpose is not only to reach a wider audience by expanding the target market pool, but to expand the narrative itself. Henry Jenkins, author of the seminal book Convergence Culture, warns that this is an emerging subject and different authors have different understandings of it. He warns that the term transmedia per se means across media, and may be applied to superficially similar, but different phenomena. In particular, the concept of transmedia storytelling should not to be confused with traditional cross-platform, transmedia media franchises, or media mixes. From a production standpoint, transmedia storytelling involves creating content that engages an audience using various techniques to permeate their daily lives. In order to achieve this engagement, a transmedia production will develop stories across multiple forms of media in order to deliver unique pieces of content in each channel. Importantly, these pieces of content are not only linked together, but are in narrative synchronization with each other. History. The origins of the approach to disperse the content across various commodities and media is traced to the Japanese marketing strategy of media mix, originated in early 1960s. Though some have traced the roots to Pamela, or Virtue Rewarded written by Samuel Richardson and even suggest that they go back further to the roots of earliest literature. By the 1970s and 1980s, pioneering artists of telematic art made experiments of collective narrative, mixing the ancestors of today's networks, and produced both visions and critical theories of what became transmedia. With the advent of mainstream Internet usage in the 1990s, numerous creators began to explore ways to tell stories and entertain audiences using new platforms. Many early examples took the form of what was to become known as alternate reality games, which took place in real time with a mass audience. The term ARG was itself coined in 2001 to describe The Beast, a marketing campaign for the film AI Artificial Intelligence. Some early works include, but are not limited to, ONSHAT was most likely started sometime around 1993, and also included most of the aforementioned design principles. ONSHAT also incorporated elements of legend tripping into its design, as chronicled in a scholarly work titled Legend Tripping Online, Supernatural Folklore and the Search for ONSHAT. ISBN 978-1628460,612. Dreadnought, an early example of an ARG-style project, was published on sfgate.com in 1996. This ARG included working voicemail phone numbers for characters, clues in the source code, character email addresses, off-site websites, and real locations in San Francisco. Freaky Links, 2000, The Blair Witch Project, feature film, 1999, online, feature film, 2001, The Beast, game, 2001, Majestic, video game, 2001, the Macaulay Honors College, part of CUNY, New York, established a new media lab focusing on transmedia storytelling and content, under the direction of Robert Small. Current state. As of 2011, both traditional and dedicated transmedia entertainment studios are beginning to embrace transmedia storytelling techniques in search of a new storytelling form that is native to network digital content and communication channels. Developing technologies have enabled projects to now begin to include single-player experiences in addition to real-time multiplayer experiences such as alternate reality games. While the list of current and recent projects is too extensive to list here, some notable examples of transmedia storytelling include, Corpii the First Entry, a transmedia project directed by Gustavo Cooper. Conspiracy 365, a transmedia multi-platform experience for the Movie Network TV in Australia. Slide, a native transmedia experience for Fox 8 TV in Australia. Dirty Work, an interactive web series by Fourth Wall Studios. Skins, a transmedia extension of the Channel 4/Company Pictures TV show by Something Else in the UK. Kathy's Book, a transmedia novel by Sean Stewart and Jordan Weissman. Personal Effects, Dark Art, a transmedia project by J.C. Hutchins. Year Zero, a transmedia project by 9 Inch Nails. Regenesis, a Canadian television series with a real-time transmedia extension that took place in sync with the episodes as they aired. The Lizzie Bennet Diaries, a web series adaptation of Pride and Prejudice with Twitter and Tumblr accounts. Pandemic, an independent film and event created by Lance Weiler. My Music, transmedia sitcom by Fine Brothers Productions as part of YouTube's Original Channels initiative, one of the more robust transmedia experiences. Clockwork Watch, an independent project, about a non-colonial steampunk world, told across graphic novels, live events, online and a feature film created by Yomi Aini. ZTO, a crowd-funded Canadian ARG that simulates the rise and fall of a futuristic Toronto lifestyle biotech corporation. Fallen Nation, a transmedia setting that currently includes 2 books, 1 graphic novel, and a collection of audio albums and audio theatre released in podcast format. Defiance, a television show and video game paired to tell connective and separate stories. The Hive Transmedia Project, by Daniel D.W. is a sci-fi novella series incorporating QR codes within the text to multimedia and a simulated reality story. Ingress by Niantic Labs in 2012. Endgame, Proving Ground, a web, phone, book, movie and live paid actor campaign of trans-reality gaming by Niantic Labs beginning in 2014. Simon Wilkinson has created several transmedia shows, including Beyond the Bright Black Edge of Nowhere and The Cube, which both tell the story of a mass disappearance in 1950s America. After seeing the performance, audience members investigate the disappearance online through a series of websites. In Digital State, How the Internet is Changing Everything, author Simon Pont argues that transmedia storytelling is a theory that is at last starting to find its practical stride. Pont cites Ridley Scott's Alien prequel Prometheus, and specifically the 3 viral films produced by 20th Century Fox as part of the Advanced Global Marketing Campaign, as vivid executional examples of transmedia storytelling theory. Where Robert McKee argues that backstory is a waste of time, Pont proposes that storytellers like J.J. Abrams and Damon Lindelof have a Euro-OE pretty much lined Mac a Euro unregistered trademark S argument up against a wall and shot E to Euro. Pont goes on to argue, a Euro-OE parallel and non-linear timelines, a Euro multiversus a Euro unregistered trademark, grand narratives with crazy rich character arcs, a Euro backstory a Euro unregistered trademark has become a Euro more story a Euro unregistered trademark, the opportunity to add Byzantine layers of meaning and depth. Eudonia Euro unregistered trademark T create a story world by stripping away, but by layering Euro. In Ball and Flint, Transmedia in 90 Seconds, Pont likens transmedia storytelling to throwing a piece of flint at an old stone wall, and delighting in the ricochet, making story something you can now be hit by and cut by. Educational uses, transmedia storytelling mimics daily life, making it a strong constructivist pedagogical tool for educational uses. The level of engagement offered by transmedia storytelling is essential to the millennial generation as no single media satisfy their curiosity or lifestyle. Schools have been slow to adopt the emergence of this new culture which shifts the spotlight of literacy from being one of individual expression to one of community. Whether we see it or not, Jenkins notes that we live in a transmedia, globally connected world in which we use multiple platforms to connect and communicate. Using transmedia storytelling as a pedagogical tool, wherein students interact with platforms, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or Tumblr permits students a Euro unregistered trademark viewpoints, experiences, and resources to establish a shared collective intelligence that is enticing, engaging, and immersive, catching the millennial learners a Euro unregistered trademark attention, ensuring learners a stake in the experience. Transmedia storytelling offers the educator the ability to lead students to think critically, identify with the material and gain knowledge, offering valuable framework for the constructivist educational pedagogy that supports student-centered learning. Transmedia storytelling allows for the interpretation of the story from the individual perspective, making way for personalized meaning-making. In The Better Mousetrap, Brand Invention in a Media Democracy, Pont explains, transmedia thinking anchors itself to the world of story, the ambition principally being one of how you can bring story to life via unregistered trademark in different places, in a non-linear fashion. The marketing of motion pictures is the most obvious application, where transmedia maintains that theory unregistered trademark SAA bigger picture opportunity unregistered trademark to punting a big picture. Transmedia theory, applied to a movie launch, is all about promoting the story, not the due date of a movie starring. A unregistered trademark in an industry built on the conventions of stars sell movies a unregistered trademark, where their name sits above the film a unregistered trademark's title. Transmedia thinking is anti-conventional and boldly purist. Transmedia storytelling is also used by companies like Microsoft and Kimberly-Clark to train employees and managers. Grunstadt and Ramos argues, a OE at the core of every training challenge is a good story waiting to be told. More and more, these stories are being told across a multitude of devices and screens, where they can reach learners more widely, and engage with them more deeply. References: A.B. Steinberg, Mark, Anime's Media Mix, Franchising Toys and Characters in Japan. P. Vi, Phillips, Andrea. Transmedia Storytelling. Jenkins, Henry. Transmedia 202, Further Reflections. Confessions of an ACA Fan. Pratton, Robert. Getting Started in Transmedia Storytelling, A Practical Guide for Beginners. London, UK, CreateSpace. Pages 224. ISBN 978-1-5153-3916-8. Bernardo, Nuno. The Producer's Guide to Transmedia, How to Develop, Fund, Produce and Distribute Compelling Stories Across Multiple Platforms. London, UK, Be Active Books. Pages 153. ISBN 978-0-9567500-0-6. Henry Jenkins, Convergence Culture, Where Old and New Media Collide, pages 110. Pryor, Karen Swallow, The New, Old Way to Tell Stories, with input from the audience, The Atlantic, October 18, 2013, Kinsler, Michael. Legend Tripping Online, Supernatural Folklore and the Search for unregistered trademark Hat University Press of Mississippi, 2011, Dread Not. SFGATE. Archived from the original on February 29, 2000. Pont, SA-OE Digital State, How the Internet is Changing Everything Kogan page ISBN 978-0749468859. Ball and Flint, Transmedia Explained in 90 Seconds. Simon Pont, ABC Jenkins, HA-OE Transmedia Storytelling and Entertainment, An Annotated Syllabus Continuum, Journal of Media and Cultural Studies, 24/6. 943-958 2010. Wilson, M.E. Teaching, Learning, and Millennial Students. New Directions for Student Services. Summer 2004. doi, 10.1002/SS125, Warren, S., Wakefield, J.S., and Mills, L. Learning and Teaching as Communicative Actions, Transmedia Storytelling. In Laura A. Wankel, Patrick Blessinger. Increasing Student Engagement and Retention Using Multimedia Technologies, Video Annotation, Multimedia Applications, Video Conferencing and Transmedia Storytelling, 2013, Emerald Group Publishing Limited, pages 67-94 doi, 10.1108 per second 2044-9968, 2013, 00006F006, Tusk, Paul R. J. and Horstman, Teresa. Transmedia in the Classroom, Breaking the Fourth Wall. Paper presented at the Meeting of the Mind Trek, 2012. Pont, SA-OE The Better Mousetrap, Brand Invention in a Media Democracy Kogan page 978-0749466213. Storytelling for the Netflix Age. T+D Magazine. August 2013. Grunstedt, Anders. Ramos, Mark. Learning through Transmedia Storytelling. ASTD ISBN 1562869515. Further reading, Pratton, Robert. Getting Started in Transmedia Storytelling, A Practical Guide for Beginners, 2nd edition, Phillips, Andrea. Transmedia Storytelling, Azimard, His Lane, 100 Notions for Cross-Media and Transmedia, a copyright Editions de la Euro unregistered trademark Imita copyright Real, pages 228, Pont, Simon a Euro OE The Better Mousetrap, Brand Invention in a Media Democracy Euro. Kogan Page. ISBN 978-0749466213, Pont, Simon a Euro OE Digital State, How the Internet is Changing Everything Euro. Kogan Page. ISBN 978-0749468859.